Welcome inside the Flame Central podcast studios, which are powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Oh, are the studios powered too?
I don't know.
No, the whole shebang.
We got to draw a line somewhere.
No, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
Who is ready for the most depressing 30 minutes?
Listen.
Stop it.
Listen.
Stop.
It is so depressing.
That's
You
not
guys
how
aren't invested.
This is not how you get people to listen longer than 45 seconds.
Somebody right now said just turn it off. I've been depressed long enough.
You don't want to have to do these
Bring
shows.
out of the depression.
But listen, are we professionals?
Yes, we got.
Yes. Can we talk about this in the right context and perspective? Give Lynn some perspective here in an emotional time.
Will you
yes.
Will you get your head right?
Yeah, come on.
No.
Get your head right.
Come on.
This is why I make.
So mental tough.
Emily
I'm
just
so
gets down.
emotional.
Will you find
I'm
some
super-
lessons in the losing, Emily?
I know.
Come on.
We've been talking about that
You
way
tell us
too
that
much.
every
I
day.
know. You are special.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nail biter from the tip, and it was a heartbreaker. Just okay. First of all, before
Emily
we
was
even
there.
get okay,
First, let's put that out
Yeah.
there. Emily was in the building, the only one of the three of us that was there. Let's give her some credit. She got up early. What time did you leave Lynchburg?
got up at 4. We left. We were wheels up at 5:30.
Not up, down. They were driving.
Down. Oh, sorry.
Let's get that
No,
straight.
no,
They
no.
did not have
Yeah.
the Flame Central jet was not available.
When are we gonna
Yeah.
get a Flame
Yeah.
Central jet
Yeah.
powered?
Powered by-
Yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably in our future.
There's potential.
So yeah, we drove, hit the road at 5:30, got there around like 12:30, went to the Flames Club, little get together and stuff, which was, I mean, I was shocked by how many Flames fans
Lot of
there were.
fans.
You can see on TV. There's a
There
decent
was
crowd.
one point during the game where an LU chant started, and like all the Kennesaw State kids were like, "Wait, that's not KSU
Yeah,
chant, that's an
yeah.
LU chant," and like they started doing the KSU
And that's
chant.
a lot of letters coming out of KSU students. Like, yeah, it's a lot for them to take.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
whoa, what? Like,
Oh,
yeah.
you should. Their
Yeah.
halftime chant. It's like K and Kennesaw and S, and then they were spelling state. I think it was like the worst chant. Like they
what was
just.
the
listen,
atmosphere like?
But I will say they have this. The band like plays this song and they
Where they
you
start
don't
swaying
want to
and
go
stuff?
to war with the owls. I'm telling you right now, we need
good.
a chant like that because that chant. Home court advantage is so real
Yeah.
in the postseason. And going into this, we talked about it might be
Spring
our
break
spring
theory.
break.
Throw it in the trash.
Throw
Throw it in
it
the
in.
trash.
Your spring break
I
theory.
apologize.
It was really
I
bad.
had a lot of people text me before and really interested to see how your spring break theory turns out. Turns out garbage.
When I saw him
Complete
put up-
garbage.
When I saw him put up the attendance,
Yeah.
like record crowd,
Yeah.
3,800
Yeah.
or whatever.
You
I was
know
like,
what?
well, there goes
You know
Matt's
what,
spring
though?
rain attendance.
Credit to them.
It
Those
was
students stuck
real.
around. You know, they weren't.
doubt.
They didn't flake out. They were there. They weren't thinking about the beach. They showed up.
I'm telling you right now, the home court advantage was real.
Yeah.
And I'm not, call me a Karen, but listen up.
Nobody's ever called you.
Call me a Karen. I have, and this is a humble brag, I have been to so many basketball arenas, almost every NBA arena, a ton of college games.
You're well traveled.
Yeah.
Never have I
been around.
ever heard an MC mic,
Like the PA guy.
like the PA guy, and it was like the not even the PA guy, but it was also the timeout guy that
What
would
was
come
his
out
deal?
and
What was the deal?
it was so loud, like my head was throbbing, and I saw that some people were talking about it too on Twitter, like. You're effective, like you're great, you're bringing the energy, like, but it was way too loud, like way too loud. Like I had to hold my ears, and maybe my
These
ears
kids,
are sensitive,
these
and I
kids
have
and their
to hold-
loud music. And
Loud rock and roll
Yeah.
No,
music.
but it
and
would
roll
have been
music.
so much. It would have been just
listening
as
to
effective.
their Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen.
Yeah.
It was.
Poison.
It was
Yeah.
disturbing. It was disturbing how loud it
Yeah.
was.
Well,
You guys are annoying. Okay,
You guys
so
are annoying.
so
No,
home
not
court
us.
advantage
Yeah,
was
it-
real,
yeah,
and I think that did shake up the Flames a little bit. Like playing in a hostile environment like that is really, really difficult when,
Which is why when we
a
talked about
championship is on the line.
that first meeting, we knew how important that was.
Right, and it goes back to like the scheduling of the ASUN. Why was it, but I mean, when you look back at the preseason standings, nobody really knew Kennesaw was going to be this good. They were projected, I think, eighth. Yeah.
Which
So
the preseason rankings were a
horrible.
dumpster fire. Like they
Right.
were not even close to accurate.
Yeah, and let's just throw it out there. The ASUN didn't want Liberty to win.
No, get out of here.
Stop
Because
that.
Kennesaw's leaving
Just stop
too.
that. Just stop
People,
that.
I've heard people saying it's like
Yeah.
Kennesaw's leaving too. They're just leaving a year later.
Give
know?
I
Kennesaw
know.
State full credit
Yeah.
where credit is
I
due.
know.
That guy's built a program there
Mhm.
from the ground up,
Yeah.
and that team is a mentally tough team.
And
you got to give them 100%
they're probably the most athletic team in all the ASUN. Like when you just look at what they throw out there in the court and the way they defend, like the way that they were able to defend Liberty, the athletes that they have out there on the floor, like they're very, very athletic.
It was a physical game.
It was.
You could definitely tell that, well, you know, like Shiloh, Zach Cleveland, a lot of guys stepped up to the plate to match that physicality.
Zach
but
Cleveland.
How great was Zach Cleveland?
That kid is a dog.
How great
was
that
He
kid?
wants it.
And he has that edge,
yeah,
you know?
He
like,
wants
he has
the
that little
physicality.
swag.
And I'll say this, before we get into kind of breaking down some of the points of the game or whatever, like,
Hey,
what is a big takeaway from this postseason run? It's that Colin Porter and Zach Cleveland are dudes.
Yeah.
And they are going to be good moving forward. The spotlight, the stage, not too big. Porter, again, hits the game-tying 3 late after the career performance in the semifinal. Zach Cleveland comes out, what did he finish with? 7 points, 7 rebounds. Like, he was a factor, not just in this game, he was a factor in the semifinal game as well. Like, those guys are going to be really good moving
I
forward.
thought he was even going to get, I was wanting him to give me, like, you know, the more cowbell thing.
Yeah.
I was feeling like, give me more Zach Cleveland, right?
yeah.
Because he was, he's the guy they weren't expecting. In the broadcast, they talked about that role player that comes off and does a really good job. He was doing that, so I thought we were going to get a little bit more, but man, he grinded, he battled. And then for Colin to step up late in the game like that when Darius was having a rough day, and to drain that 3, that was it was exciting.
And I will admit that I tweeted something I think at half or just before half that was like, listen, Darius hasn't hit a 3 yet. And the Flames are leading by 2. Same situation a few games ago.
That's why I was texting somebody and saying, like, and again, I watched the first half on my phone while I was helping call the baseball game. So
how invested were you?
Take with a grain of salt, maybe any analysis I might have about the first half. It was a little, you know, I didn't exactly have all my focus there. But like I texted somebody, I'm like, is it fair to say that it's like it could have been better? But it definitely could have been way worse after that first half when you're leading by 2. Sure, felt like there were some shots around the rim that you couldn't quite convert. Could have been better, but man, with Darius struggling in the first half to be leading by 2, you absolutely would have taken that on the road. Yeah,
I mean, with Darius struggling, you know, for the game, it was such the epitome of what Liberty basketball is. It's like that was a true team. I know the end result didn't get where them as players, fans, and everybody didn't want it to be, but to see as he struggled, how all the other guys picked it up.
Kyle Rowe,
Kyle Rowe was, I mean, that like senior leadership. You know, from a freshman like Colin to a senior like Kyle to Zach Cleveland coming off the bench. Like, you start going through the list, like, this truly was like, you know what, if one guy's down, the rest of the guys will pick him up. There was never a panic button press. It was like, we're going to fight, we're going to grind. This is who we are as a team. This is our personality. This is everything that we've become. And to them to step up, and it says a lot, one, what they think about Darius, right? Like how much respect they have for him. Like, we want to get this done, not just for him, but as a team, as a whole. And then to actually do it and be right there with a chance to win that game, like you said, with them struggling the way that they did. I thought it was a phenomenal team effort by them.
Yeah, it's nothing against last year's team, but when you do look back to last year when Darius wasn't producing and he would not necessarily fold, but like the rest of the team would just go down with him. You can see how these guys have grown from last season of like, okay, Darius isn't hitting shots. I got to do something. I got to step up. So that is good to see that growth. And then you have the addition of 2 awesome freshmen that are not afraid of the big moment and what that's going to do without Darius McGee. You know, that's the concern of like, how are we going to replace that Darius McGee? And they're going into a different conference that I'm assuming is going to be more competitive than the ASUN, but it is good to see like the growth. And let me tell you something about the post-game presser from McKay. Like, these guys were heartbroken.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not like, we obviously didn't want that to happen.
Sure.
But these guys were invested, and they, like Coach McKay was saying, they say real men don't cry. Matt Warner cries in his office all the time. So
Matt's cried on my shoulder a few times.
Yeah, after that pickleball loss.
After he lost.
No, but it is good to like.
That's not true.
It is good to like feel that loss, right? Because that's going to make them hungry for the future.
You want them to care.
You want them to care, and I think that this team, they really wanted it for Darius. I will say, I think it was in the first half, so I know you were calling a baseball game, but did you see where like something happened with Darius's elbow.
So he got hit in the funny.
Or like,
and
so
we don't know any
off.
details, but yeah, he was kind of like flexing his hand and kind of one of those. And so some of those shots that you saw him in the second half that just missed everything.
I mean,
something was
never
odd.
have seen that.
But the bottom line is, with this game, and we talk about the final, foul call, and I think it was a foul. And you know me, we've talked some about it in different scenarios over the years. Like, if it's a foul, it's a foul.
Call it.
You don't get to pick these like arbitrary, like, if it's within 30 seconds of the end of the game, we don't call it. If it's within a minute, like, you don't get to do that. If it's a foul, it's a foul.
Yeah.
I think it was. But the bottom line is, for Liberty, your team that averaged over 10 threes made per game, you made 5.
Yeah.
You're a team that averaged 74% shooting from the free throw line, you shot 64%. Like, so it's not just that final play.
Sure.
And you feel bad for Isaiah Warfield that was in that spot and got called for the foul, because like any athlete, you're going to put that on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's not. There's so many other things
that
happened in this game. It is not on him.
Some late, timely turnovers.
You had some, like,
some
I go back,
sloppy.
the biggest thing for me, or stretch for me, was we had the ball. We were up 53-51 with the ball, about 7.5 minutes to go. Kyle Rode grabbed a loose ball on the floor, took a timeout.
Yep.
You're like,
Yep.
oh, man.
Play.
Like, you
Better
feel like
move.
there's still so much time left, but you felt like, man, if we get a 2-possession lead, that would just feel like such a big deal.
Yeah.
And you turn it over on the inbound pass, and then the very next possession,
right.
That was
you
Darius
Colin
turnover,
Porter turned it over, which was his only turnover.
I know.
He had 1 turnover in the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he's been.
It was like 200 minutes of game time. Yeah,
That's
it was,
incredible.
Yeah,
And then
for freshmen,
after that
it's
turnover,
incredible. He's supposed to be a senior in high
Right.
school,
Cool, yeah.
people. A senior in high school, and he's like sitting there balling against
Unbelievable.
like 5-6 year
but
seniors.
after that turnover, Kennesaw took the lead. They never gave up the lead. After.
Right.
They never trailed the rest of the way. You felt like that was that little window where, man, if you just get up a couple of possessions, give yourself just a little breathing room, and you just weren't quite able to do it.
And that's in championship games at any level, whatever sport it is, the margin of error shrinks down so tight. But I will say this: the one thing that I did love about Darius is that he knew it wasn't falling. He said it on our podcast. Sometimes it doesn't go, but he got to the rack on a couple late. That those were not easy shots that actually
did
went
he
in.
foul when he was going
And I was
to
like,
the rim though? Like, I feel like he didn't get any.
A couple of those, like, he initiated the contact, but like he was like obviously going the bigger guys than him, and he got physical with them, shoulder into him to create a little space. And that, you're right. They absolutely had to have it. And he recognized that this is how I'm going to have
jump
to score.
shot wasn't falling. I'm going to get to the rack, all 150 pounds soaking wet of them. And he got there, and he made those. Some of those were difficult shots that kept us around.
So I asked Matt before the podcast about this, and I would never, ever question any coaching decision by Coach McKay. Ever, ever, ever. I'm just saying this. This is a thought, and it might be stupid, but I don't really care. I want Joe's opinion on it.
Okay, give it to me.
Kennesaw State, it's 20 seconds to go. You know they're gonna, bleed out the clock, and they're gonna drive to get the foul. Do you foul them with like right away? I want to hear what Joe says. Do you foul him right away? Force him to make those 2 free throws, and then I think they had a timeout. So then you get the ball, inbound it at midcourt, and you try to draw up a play. Because I'm putting my money in that situation on Darius McGee making a 3 or making some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just curious.
I mean, the question ultimately comes down to: do you want to extend the game or not in a situation where you're tied, right? And so, if you look, you can play the analytics side of things and say, okay, who's the worst free throw shooter on the court right now? And you go and foul him, right? Then if he does, they were in the double bonus at that point, right?
At least
so. So the odds are he's going to make one of 2. Now you're playing from behind, but then you get into, can you go and go down, make a quick basket, get the lead back, or extend the game even further? So I err on the side of doing what Coach McKay, the decision that he made to do is hey, the game's tied. Let's go down. Let's make them make a play. We believe in our defense. That's who we are.
Yeah.
That's what we pride ourselves in.
Right.
So let's go down and let them make a play in order to beat us instead of trying to go the opposite direction with it.
Make them make a tough shot.
Yeah, make them make a tough. They're going to be guarding. Everybody's on high alert. You're going to be guarding like crazy. And it just didn't. But so you can go either way with that. So, but I like how he played it out. I would have played it out the same way.
I figured that there was a reason why.
Yeah.
I was just curious of oh man,
And then the other question is, Matt, you answer this right now, is what was
Matt said the same thing.
What was the free throw percentage that Kennesaw was at? What did they end up shooting?
They end up shooting 83%.
So they're shooting. So it's not like they're in a funk where they're missing a lot of free throws.
Youngblood 7 of 7, Stroud 2 of 2.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like I don't know if I want to play from behind.
Yeah.
And in fact, the guy that went to the line, Terrell Burden, I mean, he was 5 of 7. Now the second one, whether he missed it on purpose or not, it's smart if he did.
Yeah.
And the announcer said the same thing. I said like that was maybe that would have been the smart thing if that's what he did. But like
missed that.
It's tough. I mean,
did you say the same thing?
Yeah. I don't think most coaches won't purposely put themselves down. They'll play it out and just hope you get one stop as opposed to maybe hoping they miss a free throw.
Right.
Or then hoping you get the rebound if he misses the second free throw, right? Because then that could go wrong.
Right.
They make the first, they miss the second, they get the rebound, then you're stuck again.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things. So they just say one stop. Let's get to overtime.
And they're shooting 80-some% from the line.
Right.
They're gonna make, they're bound to make.
Yeah. I mean, think about this though. Let's just put this all into a little bit of perspective because obviously it's not fun right now thinking about this. Liberty as a program has played in the last 6 years in 5 conference championship games. 5 conference championship games in the last 6 years. They lost yesterday by 1 point on a free throw with 0.7 seconds left.
Yep.
6 years ago, they lost on a buzzer beater to Radford, and Carlik Jones ripped their heart out.
Like Radford.
So, like, you're that close.
Highlanders.
You're that close
What he did is a Highlander.
to being in the
Toyota,
NCAA tournament 5 of the last 6 years.
Yeah.
That close.
Yeah.
So, like, I hope Liberty, like, fans and stuff understand that, like, what we've seen is not normal around the country.
Well,
Think about how many other teams have been in the conference championship just since Liberty's been in the ASUN.
You saw the stat.
We've been there 4 out of 5 years. No one else has been there more than twice, and that was just one team, Lipscomb.
Like,
you saw the stat, right?
What was
they
the
put it on TV, and it was over the last 6 years, top 5 winningest programs.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't remember them all, but it was like Gonzaga,
Kansas, and Houston, I think.
Houston, and Liberty.
Well,
Liberty was in the top 5.
And I know people
over the last 6 years.
It's hard for people like your casual basketball fan to get their mind around it, because if you're like a casual fan, you like pay attention to Liberty, but you're like, oh, well, I mean, Duke makes it every year to the tournament. Oh, Kansas makes it every year. Yeah, but would they make it every year if they had to win their conference tournament championship to get in?
Right.
No,
Good point,
of course not.
Good
You're not playing by the same set of rules.
Yeah.
So like you can't compare the two.
Conference and still
right.
go.
You can't compare the two. It's a different world in the Power 5. It is more difficult when it comes down to it. You have to be good those 3 days in March to get there.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And every year there's going to be some team that gets hot or some other team that's playing well. And year after year after year, Liberty's put themselves right there on the doorstep of getting in and have gotten in
100%.
3 times. So like,
are we doing a tease? Because that should be our tease.
like I hope people just understand that though. Like, cause you see people online, some people that are like, oh, this program needs to go in a different direction, whatever. Like that's all garbage. Complete garbage. And you don't understand college basketball if you think that. Like you're putting yourself right there time after time.
And not in a complaining way, but Coach McKay did talk about that after. He's like, you don't understand how difficult we can't get those top tier matchups, like as far as like those Power 5 games, like quad ones is what he's calling them. Like we don't get that because no one in quad 1 will play us.
Well, think about
this. So it's more difficult to get that outside.
Like 2 weeks ago, people are talking about, oh, Texas Tech, if they win, beat TCU, they're right back in the tournament mix. They were like 7 games below 500 in conference. But the Big 12 is so strong that any win you get is a marquee win, like big win. Like, oh boy, that really helps.
You want expansion of the tournament.
Well, I go back. No, I mean, I understand where Richie McKay comes from because he's like, if those teams won't schedule us in the first place, then we lose out on the opportunity to have those games on our resume.
It's a one-shot
and then we never get a chance for that large.
You got to win.
So I get that. My fear, though, is if you expand it, what are you going to get? You're going to get the entire Big 12 in. You're going to get a lot of mediocre Power 5 teams in, and maybe you get a few more mid-majors, but I just feel like the mid-majors always get the short end of the stick. It'll just end up being more of your mediocre Power 5 teams. You know what I mean? So I understand why Coach McKay wants that. I just don't know if it would work out in the favor of the mid-major team as much as it should.
Okay, final thoughts on this men's basketball season. Well, Coach McKay did say, like, we hope that we're not done playing basketball.
Right.
So
hopefully
we
the NIT
do want.
That was my next question.
We do want to keep that, out there.
There's a couple of them now, isn't there?
Yeah, but Liberty should be being the #2 team in the ASUN and the #1 team won the conference and going to the NCAA tournament. Liberty should be in line to go to the NIT. Now, I have no inside information or anything like that, but like they should be. And that's a big deal. And I know for Liberty right now, having those 3 straight, anything other than the NCAA tournament feels like, like whatever. But like, there's a lot of programs that would kill to go to the NIT. So hopefully that works out.
Extra basketball for young kids.
Right. I think it'd be good for this team to go and get the extra experience, and I think it would be good for Darius McGee to. I don't think he wants to go out. Well, hopefully, he's not like hurt, and there wasn't something more to that game of why he wasn't shooting and making some of those shots that we see him make all the time. But I don't think he wants to go out like that, and I think that he would do one last ride, take one last ride with these guys.
I hope so.
We'll keep you posted on that. But
it was a rough weekend for Yacht Talk. Sports.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Joe, this is not about you. This is about Liberty men's basketball.
We had the Denver loss in lacrosse for the Tar Heels. The Carolina lost, and then I had to come in yesterday and finish it off with the Flames loss. It was.
Remember, somebody asked you what would make you cry more? UNC not making the tournament.
Yeah.
Heading that way.
We got both.
Liberty not making the tournament.
We got both.
Or me winning the JPL. Still TBD on that one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, TBD.
I mean, there's two of those.
Oh my
Two of those
gosh.
getting ready to happen.
Yeah. No, you look forward though, and you talk about.
How will you remember this team, regardless if they play in the NIT?
I think you'll remember it kind of looking at Darius McGee. You'll remember that. And just again, him coming back for an extra year when he didn't have to, and what he poured in his team. I mean, you heard watching the press conference, Kyle Rode talking about Darius and how much he meant to them. That was powerful. And so I think just thinking about that and how selfless he was in doing that, I think that's what I'll remember about this group.
You know what I think of this team? This is what I think of when I think of this team. Just from a guy who's been in a fair share of locker rooms, right? And that is, this team was the true epitome of a team that really loved each other.
Yeah.
Like these guys, these dudes, they'll look back 20 years, 25 years from now, and these guys, this group is still going to be really tight. And what you like about it, too, is you had such a great core group of seniors and then these young guys, and how they did such a great job from the leadership standpoint of the old guys, mentoring the young guys, and then accepting each other and coming together as a team. And I think these guys will always, always remain very close for the rest of their lives.
You know what? I bet one day they'll have a pickleball league together.
I bet they will.
There's no
doubt.
Guys, because that's the pinnacle of male bonding.
Yeah. 100%.
It happens on the pickleball.
100%. Guys, you will always, anybody who's on the 2022, 2023 Liberty Flames basketball team, you always have an honorary invitation to the JPL.
Wow.
She doesn't, you do.
All right, can we spin it forward real quick?
Wait, this is a loaded question or a loaded statement, but is Colin Porter going to be the college basketball player that he eventually will be? Without Darius McGee staying back and molding him this year.
Well,
I think that he
I think that certainly was a benefit.
Quickly elevated.
That was a benefit. You also think about, no, probably not. Probably not. Because he didn't he didn't have to worry about scoring for a lot of this season. Late in the year, he shouldered more of that, and it was awesome seeing him do it. But really coming in, it was just handle the ball, don't turn it over, facilitate, learn the defense. And so that did make his transition to college ball a little bit easier.
You know what I really like about him? Is that dude has really been grinding on the defensive end. Like, dude, he moves.
I mean,
he's working.
And you look at his stat line in the game. He had the 8 points and the big 3 there to tie it. He had 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Like, he did it all. He did it all.
It was so funny to see like the phicality of these guys. And I mean, we're talking bigs trying to grab rebounds, and you see Colin come away with it. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, such a great season. Hopefully, the guys will continue to compete in the NIT. We'll keep you posted with that.
When do you find out about that?
Well, it'll be after Selection Sunday. So
okay, so
it's like a week. Yeah. Women's basketball let's go. They took down Kennesaw State in quarterfinals. So up next for them, is it Lipscomb?
Lipscomb on, I believe it's Wednesday night.
Or Tuesday.
What night? Hold on. What's the date today? Wednesday. Wednesday night. They'll take on the 3-seed Lipscomb. If they win that, they would very likely go to Florida Gulf Coast for the championship.
Wait, why did they go to Florida Gulf Coast? Because
they're the ones.
Oh, they are one? Because
I thought
they're
a lone one, right?
I thought we were tied atop the standings.
No,
okay, so we have one, a couple. Okay. So we'll keep you posted. And the Lady Flames, I think that was their 15th straight win.
I think that's right.
Something. I mean, they are just.
You lose track, but yeah.
They're on fire.
And it was a dominant win, so they needed that.
Mailbag.
You did it for me. I won't even do it.
Okay, go ahead. You can do it.
ahead.
I know. We only have one. FlameCentral@liberty.edu. If you want to send in your questions, comments, or critiques, we will filter out which ones we want to include and which ones make us look the best.
Yeah, so we didn't actually get any actual questions this week, but we did get an interesting email. Joe talked last week about as a kid watching the NCAA tournament, and there was like a telethon where you could pay to get them to switch the channel to the other game. And a guy actually emailed in with more detail on that.
Oh, he did?
Really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff sent us, he said, it was Mike Baker on channel 56, WNBC.
Unbelievable.
Early 80s.
Thank you.
He said the guy would be like, we need $2,000 to show you this SEC game. And then like people would like call in. And so like during every like timeout or late game situation, basically he would come on and beg for contributions.
Correct.
And then people would donate money to see the game they wanted to.
I wasn't lying.
I wasn't sure if that was legit.
Yes.
Apparently it was.
This is how the JPL is going to start being televised.
Who said that, Jeff?
Jeff. Yeah, Jeff sent in and said he could confirm that, and even sent part of an article from the Washington Post that was like, no one will believe this, but here's the story from back then.
Hey, Jeff, welcome to the Circle of Trust. Yak Talk coffee mug on its way, my friend.
We'll get Jeff's his address so you can ship him one. But yeah, so that is bizarre.
Yes,
but it's a true story. Bizarre but true. Strange but true.
So after the Flames lost last night, we were all so depressed that we decided to just get in the car and drive straight back to Lynchburg. 20-hour day. It was after 1. Because we stopped at the QT instead of the Circle K.
Yeah, she's not bitter about the site.
Sideways. You don't want to travel with me because I'm not letting you like stop very long, and it needs to be right off the exit. What else were we gonna?
Joe. So we had a lot of controversy.
Oh my gosh!
There was a firestorm on social media last week.
A firestorm. For good reason.
About Joe. He made the comment, and we pulled the clip. He initially made the comment that he could run a 5:40 mile. Now he's since backtracked on that.
Yeah, I'm backtracking on that.
So we need to sell him. Been a lot of fans questioning.
I used to hate that things would be recorded and saved on the internet, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But now I love it.
There's gotta be a little bit of grace here.
Sure.
Okay, I got put on. No, listen to me. I got put on the spot at that time with not really understanding the mile times.
Right.
You didn't know the splits, and you did your math wrong.
I was doing my math wrong, and I admitted it was wrong. There's not in a gazillion years can I run under a 6-minute mile.
There's
no way.
So we need to set a time.
For clarification purposes, I said 6 minutes basically. Okay. Emily said 10. She said, no way you can run under a 10-minute mile. Right? That's correct. That's on video. That's on video. And what I'm saying is, hey, what does a good arbitrator do? Let's meet in the middle.
All right, we're Solomon
and
here.
so let's Split
it down the middle.
Split it right down the middle. So I'm going 8-minute mile. Can Joe Yak break an 8-minute mile?
Are you okay with that time?
Are you okay with that time?
So that's a two. Just so you know, a 2-minute lap.
And it
depends how long you're gonna.
It's not gonna be easy. Okay, so yes, the day
training
still really tough.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
for a guy that's not a runner.
I'm not
He's a shuffler, as we decided.
I'm not a shuffler. I'm more than that.
I mean,
I was a sprinter.
Right.
But I'm no spring chicken anymore, as I like to say.
That is true.
Can put that.
So with that being said, me not being a spring chicken, here's what my thought is. And no, I don't talk to you guys about this. My thought is, it's beginning of March. I need some training time.
Sure.
My birthday.
You factor in time for injuries.
You didn't do anything for my birthday. I thought I was going to get an invitation to the JPL.
This isn't about you. This is about my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Right back at you. Right back at you. So here's what I say. 53 years old on April 25th.
Oh.
That's just less than 2 months away.
I'm going to be in Mexico for my wedding.
Oh, of course you are.
It's all about it.
Yeah, it's all about Emily and her wedding.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have waited forever.
Hey. Matt,
For years, you guys have
is
been
that
like,
a fair
are you
date?
ever going to get married, Emily? And then I finally do. And then you're like, let's actually do the mile when Emily's gone. Yeah, I know why you want to do the mile. You probably looked at my wedding invitation.
That's a fair date.
How about he got an invitation?
No.
Okay.
Matt, I gave you a magnet.
I didn't get a magnet.
I did.
Oh my gosh, I'll put it in your Yacht Talk cup.
Okay, since she's not going to be here, what if we went Monday, May 1st? So you even get another week almost. Are you okay with that? Check your schedule. You may have another vacation planned. I'm not sure if there's another. You're going to another foreign land.
Italy or Greece or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, gallivanting.
Whatever.
May 1st?
Yeah.
Monday? Let's
we'll do
plan
the
on it.
podcast out there.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely have cameras out there. Yeah, we'll
bring
shoot
the whole
it.
table.
Yeah, we just set the table right there
This is
on
gonna
the
be
track.
incredible.
Yeah.
My first day back from
We'll
my
plan on
wedding,
it.
I'm gonna be
Strained
like,
my hamstring.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did you go out and actually ran a little bit?
I went out and I ran 2 laps.
what was
How'd
your
it
time?
feel?
I'll tell you my time.
Joe.
This is the training is private.
Right.
Oh
Okay,
my
it's
gosh,
a private
you
training.
are
I went to LU
so
track.
dramatic.
Right.
I actually went over to football office and offensive coordinator Willie Corn and I sat down. We watched a little film together.
That's good.
And he's explained a little Liberty football offense, which is great, by the way. And just on a side note, the Flames are going to score a whole mess of points.
Okay,
I'm
good.
calling that right now.
Yeah.
Calling that right now. And then after that, I had my shoes and my shorts and my shoes. What do you bring your shoes and shorts and shirt in here for, Joe? I said, because I've been challenged. And you don't challenge Joe Yock and get away with it.
Yeah.
And so then I went out to the track and I said, okay, let's see where I'm at. And I ran 2 laps.
How'd you feel the next morning?
It was sore.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was not fun.
No.
So
It's the lungs.
Yes. It's the.
It's
was
track
it?
I got
throat.
run. I got track throat.
throat.
I got track
I believe
throat.
it.
oh my gosh, you know what?
He
Calydone
called
is
me
not.
after. I could barely understand. I'm like, what? He's
I got track throat.
like, yeah.
I got the track. We got what? Joe?
That was exactly.
If you're looking to buy a home, don't call Joe.
Yeah.
Stop.
He'll be on the track. Find him on the track.
Track throat. Water, man. Water.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We had Calydone. She crushed it in the ASUN Indoor Championship. She has not replied to any of my texts since the show.
Yeah, where's Calydone?
Yeah.
Because you scared her.
I did not scare Calydone.
So here's the thing. I bet you.
Matt's gonna train
I
me.
bet
I'll
you,
train him.
Joe.
Matt
This
will
is
train
this
me.
is
Remember
what's.
Mick from
oh
Rocky?
my
It's very
gosh.
similar.
You're-
Chasing chickens, a lot of that kind of old school.
I hope, because you
Yeah.
are so doomed.
Yeah.
I bet Joe went over to the indoor track and did 2 laps over there, and not knowing that that's only a 200 lap, and his times are going to be
He's
all
like,
off.
I'm gonna run a 4-minute mile.
I know.
I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, don't even say it.
Okay, thanks so much for listening or watching. This is the Flame Central podcast. It's powered by Alcova Mortgage. We have spring football starting this week.
Yeah.
2 days, right?
This week. So
Thursday.
next week we
Oh,
will
it's
break
Thursday?
down some of well, there's only 2 practices
And then
this
spring
week,
break.
and then it's spring break. So I don't know how much we're going to be able to dive in next week, but we'll find something to
We'll
talk
figure it
about and keep it short and sweet for you guys. I'm going to go
Anything
be
else?
depressed for the rest of
No,
the day.
we're not.
And-
Great job, Liberty basketball.
No, I love
Proud
you
of
guys. We
Yeah.
love that program so much.
Oh, it's the
Coach
best.
McKay, we love you guys, and thanks so much for a great season. Hopefully you guys
There's
keep
more
it
to come.
going.
Yeah.
For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week.
Power.